and gentlemen, welcome to the Big Happy Family Show. Now, most of y'all know I'm a homo. But have y'all ever questioned why I'm a homo? Where did I come from? Wasn't a mistake my mom and dad made? Well, hopefully we're going to answer all these questions during this show. But first, please enjoy this little video clip to show what's going to happen in the next 15 minutes. Please look at the different, as it changes, evolution is occurring, and face shape is changing from my ancestors. And no, we did not just learn what a razor was.
Eyes are a little freaky.
Alrighty then, we're back. So it's kind of fascinating how over a short million years, a couple million years, that we became who I am today. Now, most humans know the idea that humans are, their closest brethren is the chimp. And actually, we are 98% genetic similar. But even with 98% genetically similar, there is still a lot of difference between us. For instance, in the late 1800s, there was actually a case study done where a French woman was along on a carnival in Africa with her father and ended up shacking up with a bonobo, which is similar to a chimp. Crazy idea, right? Well, she actually ended up getting pregnant from the bonobo. Yes, crazy. So, what happened, and if you look at this image right here, they actually created an offspring between the bonobo and the human. Now you're saying, dang, that's ratchet, or dang, that's hideous. Well, no, it did not survive. And so this proves that even though we are morphologically similar to our chimps, if they were to shave and be like us, genetically that 2% difference is causing our offspring to not be able to be viable. So to start off with my first guest today, I'm going to introduce my lovely common ancestor to the bonobos and chimps, the guy that started it all, Artie. Artie, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you for having me out.
Yeah, no problem. So, I'm not trying to hit on you or anything, but you're looking quite incredible. You're 6 million years old. Now tell me, where have you been the past 6 million years?
In Eastern Africa, actually, yeah.
Eastern Africa, where have you been about Eastern Africa?
Mainly the wooded areas. I like to hang around the trees mostly.
Okay. Now I know 6 million years ago, y'all definitely did not have a Mustang around or a car. So how are you getting around then?
Well, like I said, I spent most of my time in the trees, but I actually started to develop a big toe and a rigid foot that really helped me to begin to walk bipedally with stability.
Interesting enough. Now, let me rack your head about something I heard about. It's called the open savanna theory. The open savanna theory is that my ancestors, such as yourself, y'all slowly or gradually moved towards the savanna away from wooded areas. And so that caused it necessary to walk on 2 feet instead of all fours and climbing. And so that's how today I'm walking on 2 feet instead of climbing in the trees. Would you agree with that?
I would have to disagree with that.
Really?
See, I spent all my time in the wooded areas, and even though I was around trees constantly, I did begin to develop the big toe and rigid foot and began to walk bipedally.
Well, you do have one big toe. Now, so what you're claiming right now is based on what the archaeologists found on the fossils of the Ardipithecus. Their fossils were found in wooded areas, denying the idea of the open savanna theory.
Yes.
Again, I can't get over how attractive you are. What's your diet?
Well, I'm an omnivore, so I like to eat plants, fruits, and meat. I like to stay away from the abrasive foods and fibrous foods. So because I didn't eat all the hard, chewy foods, I had a much smaller job in my my ancestors such as Lucy. And because I had a smaller jaw, I actually had a much bigger brain because it gave me more room to have a larger skull.
Incredible. Now, I'm sure you get this a lot, but you kind of remind me of a chimp.
I do get that a lot, actually. We are pretty closely related. We have similar body structure, and we actually have very similar canine teeth. They're in a triangular shape, such as humans, and the chimps have that also.
Nice. Now, let me rack your head about this whole chimp thing. Scientists are still trying to question how we became humans because chimps are actually over 5 times stronger than a human being today.
Wow.
And also, not only physically stronger, but they're less likely to get diseases such as STDs and also autosomal diseases. So it's like, how do we come from you, become me, and I'm weaker, but I'm also more likely to get diseases. And then you have a chimp that's living in a tree, and he's not gonna get the chicken pox. Incredible, right?
It is incredible.
Well, Artie, it was a pleasure to have you today. Do you have anything else you want to say to the
I
crowd?
do not.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you for having me on.
Now, my next guest, a little bit younger, a little less attractive. She is my great to the 1000th grandmother, Lucy. Lucy, beautiful woman. Now, Lucy, first thoughts when I see you is you have notably less hair than our pal Artie. Why would that be?
Well, you see, I lived in the same area as our pal already here, but approximately 3.85 million years ago to 2.95 million years ago, when I lived, the climate was much drier and much more arid. So hair really didn't serve us too much of a purpose.
Well, guess you didn't need a razor back then.
Nope.
But now I think a lot of our audience is kind of wondering, what was that walk you were doing up here?
Well, you see, that was wrist locking. My species sort of found it pretty important to take care of our fingers because we climbed a lot, we used tools, and basically what wrist locking is it's exactly what it sounds like. You lock your wrist, you curl your fingers so you protect them, and you just walk on the top.
Well, do you care to show us again how you did it?
Nah.
Alrighty then. No pressure. Well, now, interesting fact is archaeologists say y'all are the first to actually walk long distances. Isn't that incredible, you say?
It is true. It is true. We found ourselves living in trees, but we also were bipedal and found ourselves living in plains as well.
Now, what would have been the benefit of living in trees and also out in lands?
Less competition, more resources.
Right, and apparently researchers say that actually allows y'all to live much longer than some of the other groups visiting today, or talking to today. Now, you're not have the best figure, but I'm kind of interested what diet you're taking.
Well, because we lived in the forest so much, we were generally vegetarians.
Vegetarians?
Yep.
Wow. Does not show. Now, you said about wrist locking, the reason you use wrist locking is because you use a lot of tools. So you're kind of a handyman or a handy woman.
Thank you.
Can you elaborate why you would use such tools?
Well, we were known to build shelters, and because we were vegetarians, we didn't really hunt. But we could also use sharp bone fragments, sharp stone fragments to basically protect ourselves from predators, each other, etc. And yeah.
Well, actually, I think we got a little old yearbook photo of you right here. It's kind of similar, don't you think? Well, Lucy, it was nice seeing you today. And I hope you come back soon. Unique creature, I have to say so myself. Well, ladies and gents, our last interview of today is with my closest relative of them all. It took a long time finding him, Cousin Ed. Cousin Ed, how are the ladies treating you these days?
It's going okay. What about yourself?
Well, I'm a homo, so you know the answer to that. Now, Cousin Ed, that's a unique name, don't you think?
Oh, yes.
Now, where did you get the name Cousin It?
Well, you see, a long time ago, about 2.5 million years ago to be exact, we like to play hide and seek. We were great at hide and seek. We were so good that today archaeologists still can't find our fossils or any other evidence that we existed. So they gave us the name It.
You know, that kind of reminds me of Bigfoot or the Yeti. But one thing I'm noticing about you that I'm seeing, like, why is it so hard to find, is you got some huge chompers on you. Now, why would you have such big teeth?
I had such big teeth because I ate such a wide variety of food. I've been told that my teeth were even 4 times larger than any other human. They were great, especially because I like to eat tough, fibrous foods.
Very nice, very nice. Now, can you tell me how old you are exactly?
I'm about 2.5 million years old, roughly.
And where are you from? Do you know exactly where you're from? What area you'd say?
I mostly lived in the savannah, the plains area to be exact, of Africa.
All right. Well, cousin, I'm gonna have to meet you at the Golden Corral later so we can chomp out on some food. All right.
That sounds good. I gotta run before I get caught.
Thank you. Great guys, great guys. They must have just been on the AC because you know what I'm thinking about? The Ice Age. About 800,000 years ago, past whenever our cousin Australopithecus, him, came over, the Homos came about. And during this Ice Age, you would assume that we had started to evolve and having more hair and getting hairy again, but that was not the case. Instead, actually, we started using different tools such as fire and able to control fire, and also spears, just how our Lucy did, how she used tools. We innovated them into knives and spears, and also agriculture. So now we no longer had to travel as much. And this allowing us not to travel as much allowed us our diet to change, and we became omnivores again. And due to an omnivore nature, our jawline began to change and our teeth began to shrink again, and this allowed for our brains to increase. And due to a brain increase, we were able to create language and drawing, and that's why the earliest Homos, we find different artwork in caves of them. Well, folks, that's all we have today on Big Happy Family. I hope you enjoyed the show today, and see you next time.
You guys want to get on up there together? And I'm sure somebody has some questions.
I know.
I'm so glad y'all did not go first. That was really good.
Nice compliment. Can you tell me what it is on there about the misconceptions? Or did you guys cover those already, or I was
So,
just
yeah.
kind of curious what you had up there.
Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so for the misconceptions, we're talking about when humans were compared to apes are less likely to have diseases, and they're much physically stronger than we were. And we also talk about how our ancestors evolved, and like why were they weaker? Why did we lose the ability to fight off diseases and stay healthier?
And so another thing that some of the misconceptions is how we evolved to humans, but also we're weaker than some of our ancestors were, but also like the open savanna theory, how our fossils are actually denying the open savanna theory. And also another thing we're unsure about is Homo sapiens specifically, what exact group of Homos did we descend from? Because apparently there was not a lot of interbreeding between Homos, because we actually have less than 6% of the genetic similarities to the Homo neanderthals.
Hold on a second. Wait a minute. So we're less. That would mean that we were less closely related to Neanderthals than to chimps.
Right, but within the Homos itself, that group.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Okay, gotcha. So, who are our closest living relatives at this point?
The bonobo living is.
It is this one right here. Our living ancestors?
Living, yeah, our living
It's the bonobo and the chimp.
Okay.
Because whenever compared to like the gorilla, it's actually due to like the mitochondrial DNA, it shows that the bonobo and chimp is actually closer.
Awesome. You guys have other questions? Savannah, did you have questions?
I'm just real curious about
Me
the,
too. Like, that's completely true.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
that's-
because like, was it like a rare case? Because I feel like this sounds really bad, but if that happened once, I feel like people would want to try
Yeah.
to make it
Well,
happen
so-
again.
What happened me and like I showed this to Dr. Cruze.
Experiment. I know we're doing it in lab.
But no, it's true. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
People are, and what year is this? Will you remind everybody now?
This is the late 1800s, and so during the time of exploration. But I showed Dr. Cruze this originally, and she was like, "That is quite insane. I don't think this could have happened." And so the evidence behind the sort, it seemed like a logical source. And then we looked on Wikipedia actually, and the Soviet Union ran tests similar, but what was happening is they crossed sperm with a chimp's egg and then a chimp sperm with a female egg, but it was not creating a viable offspring either. Like it wasn't working at all.
so this one was like born, but it wasn't.
Right. It looks like it's like actual human size, but granted, this is like a baby size, like just came out the womb, and they just propped it up in that way.
And it
It
was
was
dead.
dead.
Right. It was completely dead at birth.
Kind of goofy, isn't it?
Is that like its eyes or is it like glasses?
It's
And that would be
glasses.
eyes.
They're eyes. I mean, this, you gotta understand, this is really, really old.
I know.
And, I mean, it's hard to validate, but from, Matthew and I both looked on, I mean, there does seem to be some evidence, at least that this is documented. Now, whether or not this was an actual chimp and human,
Right.
we don't know.
So was this
right?
an accident?
But these sets of photographs in the story are definitely documented.
It was like a bonobo. A bonobo was in a carnival act with the daughter and this man, and the bonobo and the daughter ended up shacking up.
That's a great way to put it.
I'm just disturbing.
And so they didn't say like did she do it with
They
consent or
didn't
not,
give
but-
specifics, like they said.
We don't want
So she like Monobo?
Something's very
They liked her and did some stuff that she didn't want